Minister for State-Owned Enterprises questioned on the ongoing blackouts. Elias Kapavore wants answers to environmental concerns in his district. And Yarawari High School needs proper washing facilities for female students. Good evening, this is National EMTV News. I'm Godwin Eki. Thank you for joining us. During the recent Parliament sitting, the member for Obura Waninara, John Baito, asked a question without notice to the State Enterprises Minister William Duma regarding the current blackouts that are ongoing in the country.
With a lot of questions being raised at the floor of Parliament without notice to the ministers responsible, member for Obura Wanenara raised his question to the Minister for State Enterprises, William Duma, on the blackouts that people are experiencing throughout the country. Boito asked Minister Duma if he is aware of the blackouts and also an update to be given on the Ramu 2 power project.
Mr. Speaker, in recent months and up to this day, the country is experiencing continuous power blackouts on a daily basis, and it's happening everywhere, in most of our cities and towns. The continuous blackout is affecting business houses, hospitals, schools, general public alike. The business houses are losing income. Our people's electrical appliances and equipment are being damaged, and frozen foodstuffs spoiled.
Minister Duma replied accordingly to the series of questions that were asked.
Mr. Speaker, just like all of us, I'm very much aware of what's happening and that we are facing power blackouts right throughout the country. They are serious problems, but they can be managed if given time.
He says there has not been refurbishment work to some of the machineries that are providing the service, and therefore PNG Power is undergoing refurbishment and is causing the interruptions in some parts of the country. He also gave updates on the Ramu 2 power project.
ExxonMobil decided to cease providing power supply to Port Moresby. Mr. Speaker, in the case of the Ramu grid, again, we've had issues with the drought, an unusual drought, and we've had good reports for the last 2 weeks to the effect that the rain has started falling and that the dam is continuing to fill up, and before the end of December, it'll be then back to full capacity, and we should be have those managed up there. But in the meantime, we have an expensive IBP producer which is providing service or power to lay at much higher prices. It is a cause of concern, but these are issues that we are beginning to manage them. Mr. Speaker, we have identified the cause of the problems, a combination of management as well as technical requirements, and we have not set back. We've devoted most of our time for the last...
He gave his assurance that all these issues have been figured out and they are working on them. Samantha Solomon, National EMTV News.
Member for Pomio District Elias Kapavore has once again called on the ministers responsible for environment and conservation and the Minister for Mining to address the environmental damages done by New Guinea Gold Limited, who has been operating the Sinivit gold mine in his district. He asked the two ministers to clarify to him whether there is an update report on the status of the mine to date.
During question time in Parliament on Friday, MP Kapavore said in 2021 the then Minister for Environment and Conservation has announced that the government is committing 9 million kina to conduct water sampling, clear up the mining debris and do a report on the environmental damages caused by the New Guinea Gold Limited. He asked the minister to confirm the release of the money as nothing has been done so far.
Can the minister confirm the release of the 9 million kina, and if there are any updated environmental reports of the Sinivit mine to date? And if the funding was not released, I request that this matter be are considered as a matter of priority for the 2023 budget.
MP Kapavore added that the East New Britain provincial government also passed a resolution restricting visits to the mine, yet there were several visits by Mineral Resource Authority team without the knowledge of the local authority. He said he wants a proper audit of the status of the environment before any decision of the mine takes place.
Secondly, can the Minister assure my local landowners and the East New Britain provincial government to put on hold the opening of the Sinavit mine till the complete audit of the environmental status and reports is undertaken and presented to ascertain the safety of the mine site?
In responding to his questions, the minister responsible for mining, Ano Pala, said he will check on the status of the mining, the environment damages and the money committed to the issue and will inform him. He also stated that he will take into consideration the concerns on the reopening of the mine.
And I want to assure you that, like myself, I'm new, but during the process of this considerations, you will be part of the process. Your landowners will be part of the process, and of course, your provincial government will be part of the process. Thank you.
These concerns were also raised in Parliament in 2015 by Elias Kapavore to the then Minister for Environment and Conservation, Sir John Pundari, where Mr. Pundari stated that he is aware of the damages caused by the mine and assured the people of Pomio that the government will address the issue. The Sinavit gold mine started its operation in August 2007 and ceased operation in June 2012 due to environmental pollution. Cynthia Maku, National EMTV News.
Project Officer for Rotary Boroko Matthew Simmons, in his visit to Yarawari High School in Sugeri, says it is frustrating to see that female students are using the fields or spaces outside the ablution blocks to shower and change. He said many of these young women are in a vulnerable situation and that is not safe for them. Student Rep Gertrude Daniel added that it is very difficult, particularly for female students, to go outside at night as it is not safe. Female dormitories at Yarawari High School is a major concern for students that are boarding inside the school, particularly the female students. Project Officer for Boroko Rotary Club, Matthew Simmons, said the school is responsible for fixing the shower facilities, yet nothing is being done to help the female students who are bathing outside their dormitories because the shower facilities inside are not working.
It's quite shocking for us in these modern days that students still have to wash outside when there's shower blocks locked up, unfortunately not maintained to a point where the female students could utilise them. So with small money, possibly the school could fix the showers so the girls could shower indoor in privacy.
Having spent nearly 40 years in country in the education sector, former president for Boroko Rotary Club, Trevor Burney, said the education department needs to step in and help.
We're educating our children to believe that washing in the open, having water that just runs down the hill, having effluent that runs openly into systems, actually toilet bowls that don't work, don't flush, and are full of peck and stuff. We're actually educating our children to believe that this is acceptable. And is that the sort of attitude we want our children to have, who are going to be our leaders and the ones who are going to make decisions about the way we live? And as our society gets bigger, our cities get bigger. If we don't have systems at work, we're going to be susceptible to disease. Our schools are overcrowded. We haven't maintained the infrastructure. And now they're being pressured by more and more students. And so recovering the situation is really difficult.
A concerned student and rep of the school, Gertrude Daniel, said her fellow students found it difficult to leave their dormitories at night, to go outside for a bath or even to do their laundry, and so laundry must be done during the day.
When it's night, we don't go out because it's unsafe. Our fence up there, it's not that safe too. We have gaps. Especially we have outsiders coming in at night most of the time. So we wash early as possible before it's dark. And our bowls of toilet, sometimes there's no water. Girl, it's used till it's full up at all. Sometimes the pads we used to go and stack in the bowl so the toilet don't flush. It stays for a week. We use sticks to poke it and make hole for all those ways to go out.
Boroko Rotarians say something must be done to help solve the issue. A total of 130 wards in the Gazelle district have witnessed the swearing-in of their Ward Development Committee members this week. The occasion commenced on Tuesday in Lasul Binding LLG for the 22 wards.
The swearing-in of the District Ward Development Committee saw members from each local level government in the East New Britain province being sworn in. Inland Binding LLG had theirs on Wednesday with its 25 wards, while Libuan Rainbow LLG saw a total of 173 members sworn in, with 3 caretaker members also. The people belonging to 33 wards of Toma Wunadidir LLG witnessed their Ward Development Committee members being sworn in, with Central Gazelle also swearing in a total of 21 ward members. The program was initiated after a 21 days ward governance mentoring and Ward Development Committee setup program initiated by the districts and services under the East New Britain Provincial Administration. Speaking on behalf of the Women Committee members, Theonila Watt assured East New Britain Provincial Government that they will work to the best of their ability. However, funding, logistics and other necessary support must be there.
We are looking at the bottom-up planning and the bottom-up actions of all implementation of funded sectors. Me don't have booking nothing work, but me supposed to not get funding. And that's a challenge. So people are liking this sector by work good, now me play calm, now how me play calm, now walk about one time. Me plan need him funding. Me plan need him good plus support.
The program for Gazelle District swearing in of its Ward Development Committee members concluded on Friday. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
Today, Rotarians from Boroko Rotary Club visited Yarrawari High School after 2 years to check the water project. As the Rotarians walked around the school, they saw that there is a need to develop more projects in the school and that the school needs more government support. Today, Rotarians from Boroko Rotary Club paid a visit to the school to see where the project is at now and if it is helping the students with their need to access clean, proper water.
To have the privilege of getting involved with the water supply in Sagari, now that has been solved, we've noticed some other issues with the pumping, which we've fixed, but also with the wastewater. That feeds back directly into the rivers and creek systems, which we all swim in, drink from. So that's our next stage, is to look at what we can do to resolve those issues as well.
President Joselito Tuben said today's visit was to see where the project is at and what other issues there are.
We are here today to Yarrawari School to have inspections with the project that we have started about 2 years ago, and we're already on the finishing stage.
A Rotarian who's lived in PNG for more than 3 decades was also emotional to what he witnessed and why a secondary school like Yarrawari needs help from the government.
I come from the time back in the 80s when the schools had toilets that functioned, toilets, showers, water systems that functioned. And we worked in rural areas, and we would expect coming to places close to the city that things would work.
Other Rotarians also had this to say.
If they want us to help them in getting to a better situation here, then we're happy to do that, and they will have to be involved as well.
So this is like basically Rotary just keeps on taking up projects after project, and thanks to all our supporters who have been contributing towards this cause.
Rotary Boroko, in the meantime, is looking to establish other projects in the area to help support the students through their programs into the future. A total of 49 students graduated today at the Metago Theological College under United Church in Papua New Guinea in Central Province. The students are from Gulf and Central, graduating under Certificate in Theology, Diploma in Theology and Certificate with Christian Knowledge under Women's Program.
As you can see, Metago Bible College at its 39th graduation ceremony year, with 14 pioneer students under the Diploma in Theology program, while the other 35 students graduated with certificate under Christian Knowledge.
The church area at Papalele was fully packed with graduates, family members, pastors, and the guest of honor, Kit Idu, who is the member for Hiri Choir. Families of different graduates also set up tents for preparing different meals as part of the graduation ceremony, which they served after the ceremony. After the speeches, students were presented with their certificate and diploma papers. The acting principal for Metago Bible College, Reverend Loi Auda, said the Bible College was established in 1982 and it is a historic graduation with a first of its kind to witness students graduating under diploma in theology programs. He stated that they ensure that the courses are relevant to the pressing needs of their pastors and their congregations.
It is 40 years old Bible College that students of Central Province and other provinces that come here for human resource development in the church. This college offers certificate of theology and certificate of Christian knowledge with women, the spouse of the pastors.
He further stated that 5 students scoring distinctions in all courses have been selected to study in one of the Bible colleges in East New Britain Province next year.
2020 until now, we are having our first graduation with the certificate of diploma in theology. So the college itself is elevated from a pastoral level to an academic level, that this is our first historical graduation for the diploma students to be graduated.
Among those 5 students was Benjamin Kenny, who graduated under diploma programs, said he is looking forward to go and study in Rabaul next year.
At the moment, for these past 3 years, I am really glad what God has done in my life. He has moved in a tremendous way, in a more significant way, in a divine way. He came in so many forms and so many ways, and He has blessed us. And to achieve this great moment, this great achievement, is a credit to God and to my family as well.
Other graduate Benjamin Anagogo also said similar sentiments.
It's a joy to be in my heart as face out Poik from the Metago School Theological College.
Esther Gane, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National EMTV News. Papua New Guinea has been described by a group of scientists as one of the world's centers of diversity. A group of passionate scientists from within the Pacific region are in the country to assess the impacts of the coconut rhinoceros beetle and how best they can find solutions to contain this rising concern, especially in our coastal communities. The coconut rhinoceros beetle, or CRB, infestation is not only a problem in PNG, but a regional problem that needs urgent attention on how to counterattack the spread of this deadly beetle and to protect our coconut trees. Reporter Lindy Suharupa caught up with this group of scientists upon their return to Port Moresby after their field trip to parts of the country.
The coconut rhinoceros beetle has been in existence in Papua New Guinea for decades. It is said to be an indigenous food to some parts of the country. Both the adult coconut rhinoceros beetle and its larva are both edible, especially in the Momase region and parts of West Papua. Recently, the coconut rhinoceros beetle has been an issue of concern throughout the Pacific region. This beetle is a regional problem. The coconut rhinoceros beetle, or CRB, comes in two variants. Number 1 is susceptible to the virus that is used as a natural enemy to the beetle, and number 2 is resistant to the virus. This virus was introduced into the region in order to mitigate the spread of the beetle. The beetle that is susceptible has spread throughout the region. It has caused extensive damages to coconut palm trees. Since 2007, there was another strain of this beetle that was resistant to the virus, which was detected in Guam. Since then, the coconut rhinoceros beetle has spread to many parts of the Pacific region. In the last 10 years, it has accelerated and spread into PNG, Solomon Islands and Vanuatu, and other Pacific Island countries, causing serious damage to the coconuts, in some parts killing the whole coconut palm trees. PNG is the second Pacific country to record the presence of the coconut rhinoceros beetle.
Project that we are under is funded by MFED, and it covers Solomon Islands, Papua New Guinea, and Vanuatu. So we are covering those three countries, and in PNG, our partners are Nakia, Kik, and also PNG Opera. And we are looking at particularly the management efforts. So we use the existing management options that are available to try and assist the countries to control the beetle.
This research focuses primarily at improving the biocontrol program initiated by this group of scientists, together with help from partnering organizations throughout the Pacific region.
How we can try and improve the management program to contain the beetle. So the beetle is spreading, and so for the countries where we have the beetle, we'll need to implement the management efforts to contain them. And then for the countries and territories that do not have the beetle, we assist with the awareness program so that they can monitor and then try to prevent the beetle from entering the countries.
Dr. Mark elaborates further on how the beetle attacks coconut trees.
In terms of the control, the beetle, because of the way in which it attacks the coconut, it's the adult that attacks the coconut. So it burrows through the base of the coconut, and then it goes into what we call the apical meristem. That's the growing point, and then it feeds on the sap within the coconut. So if you want to control that with chemical, it's almost impossible for and also looking at the height of the palms, it's too high for you to use any chemical, just a chemical control to control that. So we do it through an integrated program where we use a different approach, and we sort of strongly emphasize the biological control.
Apart from the virus that has been used as a way of mitigating the spread of the beetle, there is also a fungus that can be applied.
There is a commercial strain that is available, which is a company in Malaysia produces that. So we can we've been importing that, and what you do is you build the artificial, what we call artificial breeding site, where you build small boxes using organic matter and then attract the beetles to come and then breed within that, and then you apply the fungus. It's called metarhizium. So you apply that, and then it infects the larval as well as the adult stages of the beetles.
Those are the two biological controls that are available and are being used against the beetle. Another way of mitigating the spread of the coconut rhinoceros beetle is to clear out any organic matter that is moist, like dead logs and rubbish piles. These areas can be breeding grounds for the beetle.
Dead coconut stumps are standing, then they breed in there, and also the oil palm, if the palm trunks have fell for replanting, they do breed in there. And any rubbish, domestic rubbish that are piled, they breed in there. So the management of those organic matter where they breed in is very critical. So we encourage for the sanitation, the cleaning up of those organic matter.
Cleanliness of rubbish and organic matter such as dead tree logs can act as breeding grounds for these pest beetles. As part of the alertness program, the team also do awareness and trainings to local communities and growers to take ownership of the program in terms of controlling the beetle from spreading. Partners are encouraged to use the management skills in order to mitigate the coconut rhinoceros beetle from spreading. This was Dr. Mark's appeal to Papua New Guineans, mostly in the coastal areas, who depend on coconut trees for food and for commercial purposes as well.
If they detect any beetle or any damage on their coconut, then they need to report that immediately to either KIK or to NACIA, and then they can go and inspect and see if it is beetle damage, and they will advise accordingly on how they can be able to manage the beetle.
Local communities are encouraged to report to the Coconut Industry Corporation extension offices if they see any unusual sightings of dead coconut trees. Dr. Trevor Jackson was also a participant in the recent survey team to PNG. He said the beetle infestation has just started in some parts of the country.
The beetle infestation has just started in some parts of PNG, and where this new invasive strain has entered the country, it is very bad. And you can see that very clearly around Port Moresby, the National Capital District. According to the group's investigation, Madang has been identified as one important coconut-producing province in PNG. Upon the team's survey, they've identified some hotspots where the beetle is breeding in. Where the pest is very bad is along the southern coast from Port Moresby. In both directions, and we can see in some of the peripheral areas of Port Moresby 70 to 80% of the coconuts have been lost, the coconut palms. Some areas of concern include parts of the Madang province and areas along the Markham Valley as well. This group of scientists have, however, discovered some good news amidst their findings. Papua New Guinea has some form of indigenous natural substances that seem to be working against the coconut rhinoceros beetle, limiting its spread. It is understood these natural indigenous substances are in our bushes and work against this deadly coconut rhinoceros beetle. This is then helping to contain it. Upon this interesting finding in Papua New Guinea, this group of scientists are now trying to identify this natural indigenous substance in the country and perhaps spread them to other hotspot areas where the beetle is infesting. Dr. Jackson described PNG as one of the world's centers of biodiversity. It is amazing for me, the comparison in looking in coconut logs in PNG compared with other countries. There are such a range of insects and other little animals working there together. And so I think that also gives a strength to the environment, so that and maybe preventing this insect doing its worst for you.
The most invasive beetle currently of concern to our coastal areas is the G-type beetle, initially discovered in Guam. The other type of the coconut rhinoceros beetle is the S-type that is less damaging and can be kept under control. This project is fully supported by PNG's Coconut Industry Corporation and Nakia and is funded by the Government of New Zealand and implemented by Pacific Communities.
National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. As the minister responsible for the health department in the country, Dr. Lino Tom, addressed a few of the issues that he is planning to work on in his 100 days in the office as the health minister. Minister Lino Tom mentioned that population growth and birth control on family planning is in process.
Contributes to the greater aspect of human development.
Dr. Lino Tom, in his maiden speech to the floor of Parliament on Thursday, he addressed the Parliament on what he will be working on in the health sector. He also outlined a few of the important things like population growth, which is challenging the health system every year.
As suggested by remote sensing modeling that have been done in the recent years, we may be within the vicinity of about 13 to 15 million, Mr. Speaker. Health is a right for these people, and government has the constitutional responsibility to provide health care services to its people. As we say in health, health care is from the womb to the tomb. The problems of service provisions will be challenged by the country's growing population, exerting pressure on limited government resources, coupled with challenges to revamp the fragile health system.
Dr. Tom highlighted some of the issues that he is planning to solve, like lack of health workers and population growth.
The acute health workers shortage, chronic drug procurement issues, unequal and limited access to health infrastructure and systems, and governance issues. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I have set for myself the following priorities I intend to achieve within the next 18 months as I progress in the sector. Number one, Mr. Speaker, is to help establish mechanisms to achieve the WHO required ratio of health workforce to population, which is 4 to 1,000 people.
There are a total of 10,000 vacancies in the health department throughout the country, including administrative and clinical staffs. Minister says this will be addressed through long-term goals and short-term goals. Samantha Solomon, National EMTV News.
After almost 30 years of waiting, people of Heights PDL1 will now open their account and have access to the landowner's benefit sharing since the first shipment of gas project in 2014.
After almost 2 hours, charter PNG Air MRDC flight from Port Moresby to Como Airfield, followed by an hour drive up the Juni camp. The leaders were given a traditional rousing welcome upon arrival. After this launching, the landowners of Heights PDL1 will now open account and benefit from their own royalty payment. Since the establishment of the project in 1992 and first shipment was in 2014, people did not benefit. Koroba Kopiago District member William Bando said the day landowners have been waiting for a scam. MRDC Managing Director Augustin Mano said PNG LNG contribute 4.5 to 5 billion tax. He further explained the process that landowners will go about in receiving their benefit.
Lohia, MRDC mi blagat also triple process. Number one, you may open account. Number two, Mbamibla electing more directors. And number three, Mbamibla gona working payment. Time me talk obi mo account, minimum sumanem. Starting tomorrow, James na Bats na Timblongan, Emol Bago na Ulbago. Lungi mo gara 6 block yumi agree lo UBSA LBS na Minister Wokim determination ya. Emol Bago ino sampai ka Mol Bago stablo hiya na lugim usedi agree lo obi makanem consultation na batekim 2 weeks 3 weeks am depend lo yublaw gara.
Managing Director Mano said law and order is the biggest challenge, and he urged landowners to make peace and ready to receive their benefit. Meanwhile, Hela Governor Philip Undialu thanked everyone for their continuous support this far. The leaders who passed on during the line of negotiations were almost acknowledged. The opening of account will proceed tomorrow to fast-track the process. Samantha Solomon, National EMTV News.
The Active City Development Program has hosted its annual Red Vember Walk and Awareness Program today. Active City joins the global movement in organizing this annual Red Vember campaign walk in the 20 days of activism to unite to end violence against women, girls, children and sorcery accusation-related violence.
The participants for today's program were PNC Defence Force, PNG Correctional Service, Internal Revenue Commission staff, SANAP One Time, NCDC Family and Sexual Violence Action Committee, Greater CPX Magna Carta, and all the communities from Amazing Port Moresby who took part in the morning walk from Sir Hubert Murray Stadium to Ella Beach. Among the participants was Governor for NCD Powers Pakop and Governor for East New Britain Province, Michael Marum. World Health Organization indicates that globally about 30% of women worldwide have been subjected to either physical or sexual intimate partner violence or non-partner sexual violence in their lifetime. The officer from UN Women SANAP One Time, Joanna Oala, educated the participants to recognize the types of violence. She said there are 5 types of violence: physical, emotional, social, financial, and sexual violence.
If we want to really educate our people and say, put a stop to violence, we have to understand ourselves, communicate clearly. Sometimes, you miss a working on them. You me tuk go na ansa go pass na ben you me tok sorry na love you na dislakay na.
Shelley Kaupa from Magna Carta, a community-based human rights organization involved in protecting, reporting and educating awareness of human rights since 2014, said violence is a learned behavior. Let's unlearn it and we can take action now to stop violence.
Police no talk na you fight na all by come na straight him. You yet you fight, you must have a lohas. Why not you fight? Why not you fight him Mary blow you? Why not you fight him Narpla? Why not community fight? You yet must set straight in problem blow you. You yet must come up law.
NCD Governor Powers Pakop, in closing, reminded all participants of the goals and directive principles of integral human development.
Integral human development. Hem talk you will get a man na Mary. Every person must be dynamically involved to free himself or herself from every form of domination and oppression. So violence here, him one form of oppression and domination. One money use him against Mary, or one tribe use him against the other tribe, or stronger man use him against, weak man, kind of thing. Him down him narapla man or narapla Mary. Now you me walk in this right, go, and by backgrabbing country blow you me. Hold it up, plan blow you me. Money blow you me, gold blow you me, oil blow you me, gas blow you me, by no got kai blongen, no got benefit blongen, no got profit blongen, no got prosperity blongen. Suppose you me involved with this passing blow, violence.
Esther Gane, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues after the break with Trukai Sports. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. NCD Schools Rugby League hosted its grand final playoff number 2 today at the Santos National Football Stadium Field 2. Despite a little bit of showers and dark clouds, that didn't stop the finals from a smooth flow as the boys continued on enthusiastically. The Field 2 of Santos National Football Stadium was slightly packed by supporters and spectators, along with NCD Schools Rugby League Board Committee.
Each of the grand finalists vied for a maximum of 15 minutes for each halves in the under-14 division, while the under-18 division played for a maximum of 20 minutes for each halves. The reason as to why this was devised was highlighted by NCD Schools Rugby League Chairman Mr. Arnold Gende.
Under-14s are young kids. They're quite young, and we do not want to exhaust them because of the weather. It's getting very, very hot during the day. So we gave them lesser time, 5 minutes lesser than the under-18s. The under-18s are much bigger boys. They can contain the heat, they can run. So the schools development program for our competition, we give them 20 minutes each way. They play
Gende was adamant with the completion of the competition as he shared with EMTV the performances of each of the grand finalists right throughout the season.
Finalists from the 4 pools that we have, the Motu-Koitabu pool, the Northwest, Northeast, and Mosby South pool. So from these pools, we have these kids coming out to play their finals. The top schools in those pools. Now they're playing for the top post.
In his closing remarks, Mr. Gende went on to encourage the club members of NCD Schools Rugby League to not get involved in unwanted activities during the Christmas Eve.
Coming during the weekends of the season proper up to our final series. And for those who have bowed out, I'm really proud of you. And my board is very, very thankful for those schools, the head teachers, the board of management, and the parents who have been backing the individual kids to come this far. And for those who have not made it, you have another season coming. Get prepared. Look after yourself.
Lisa Puni, Trukai Sports.
Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
You're watching Trukai Sports. Tournament President Kambi Ingiman said the tournament is pleased to say that they have included or shown interest from various women's teams to be part of the competition. He said the season proper for the women's competition will start in the next 2 weeks.
And that we may get some of the girls team too will take part. Girls team and now you may get person 8 plus so now interested team command up and going to 16 the team number Lol Mary. So by round 6 round 1 Lol Mary start. So round 1 Lol Mary start. This weekend go some and free season Lol. Probably next week round 1 Lol kick also.
And that ends Trukai Sports. The weather report is next. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus. With you always.
Weather forecast for the next 24 hours. Southern region, Port Moresby, cloudy periods with few thundery showers. Daru, overnight rain drizzle, then cloudy morning. Kerema, overnight rain showers and thunderstorm, then cloudy morning. Alatau, easing rain showers and thunderstorm. Popondetta, partly cloudy with morning showers.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus. With you always.
And that wraps up the news, sports and weather for Sunday, the 27th of November, 2022. From all of us here, pleasant working week ahead. Bye for now.